Welcome back to my channel. For my latest vlog, I have decided to talk about what a favourite person is, in brackets favourite person, which is normally shortened to FP, just for anybody that's wondering. I actually came to this decision after I put a poll up on my Twitter, which is kind of like the mental health community, and I asked a few people, and this came back one of the highest percentages because people don't really know so much about it. So I did get the official explanation from Google as to what comes up when you type that in on Google, and it says it is someone who has a mental illness that relies on someone else for support. They often look up to or idolise them. So yes, this explanation or term does describe it fairly well, but I thought I would tell you what it is for me. I mean, it can be different for every single person, you know, that has a favourite person, but this is my experience of it. So for me, ever since I realised that this was a trait of BPD, I just always thought that I was weird, like through school, and I thought that maybe, you know, I was gonna grow out of it because I've always had like one significant person that I've been like attached to. When I was in school, I was really attached to one teacher, and I just thought, oh, that's school, you know. But then I realised that nobody else was the same, and it kind of just made me feel even weirder. And then obviously after I left school, I went to college and the same thing happened. But when I look back now, like, all the signs for BPD were so obvious, but it never really came up into what was actually wrong with me. Like, I overshared a lot, such a lot, to strangers, to my tutors, a lot of self-destructive behaviours as well, and that fear of abandonment, which is very familiar for me. I guess I was kind of just accepted that, you know, maybe I was a sensitive person or just in a bad place, and I even felt this when I was travelling. Travelling for me was meant to have been an escape and to kind of find myself, and I look back now and I think, I put that family through so much. Like, they didn't really understand it, so I couldn't understand it myself, so it's not fair for them, and I just put a lot on them. And I just vividly remember like asking my family's mum to promise me that she wouldn't forget me, like, because I was so dependent on that one person. And then, you know, even though I've been home 5 years now and she's still kept a promise, I still talk to them regularly, so it doesn't feel as bad because someone's kept their promise. It's even worse when someone promises and then doesn't keep it. After coming home from travelling, I thought I was okay, and then I dipped. You know, this was probably a couple of years after I was back, and then after a while, like, just all those feelings kind of resurfaced, and things just changed because I was back in that home environment. And it's not a bad environment, but you're not occupied and your brain's just working overtime, you know. I think before I'd really researched about a favourite person, I'd have just thought, oh yeah, it's just like a good friend that you have. But I eventually began to realise that it's not just a really good friend, it's, you know, someone that you rely on, and for everything really, like emotionally, it damages your mental health. You want praise, validation, acceptance, because like just hearing that makes you feel good. You could hear that same thing from a million other people, but it doesn't mean anything unless it's coming from that one person. So I think that's probably the hardest part. And then like the smallest conversation can make or break your day. Like just saying hello is just, it can make your day literally, which is quite sad because you just rely on that one person to make you happy, and it's not fair on you or them. A little while ago, just shortly after I was diagnosed, I asked a few people who I know have favourite people, and I was really debating trying to explain to mine, but there were quite a few people that said it, you know, it's difficult to explain to somebody who doesn't really understand, and it can come across in a bad way even though it's not. But then at the same time, it doesn't really help you. Like some people were able to detach themselves and not think much of it, but for me it literally feels like heartbreak, and I've never experienced, you know, anything other than like feeling sad. But the thought of not having that one person feels like your whole world's gonna fall apart without them. I also found that I tend to pick up on their emotions, so if they would say that they'd had a bad day, I'd literally feel that way the whole, like it's weird, I just feel everything that they feel. And you know, just because someone admits to having a favourite person, it doesn't mean we're not in love with them, unless you're probably like in a relationship with them, which I'm not. I don't love them, but I just need them in my life, which is so strange. So I don't want to make it sound like it's a negative thing, because like there can be good and bad like with anything, but I'd say the negatives are that it's draining and tiring. Like imagine relying on another person to make you happy. I feel exhausted thinking about it, to be honest. And like you miss the interaction, the communication, and like you can split on them, which is, I found, I didn't realise I was doing it. Like 1 minute I'd idolise everything they did, and then, you know, in my head I'm just like, oh my god, I hate them. But I don't, because in the next minute I'm crying about them. It is really, really tough, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people who do have their own experience of having a favourite person. The positives are you can build really good relationships with them, and they're your person you trust, which everybody needs at least one person they know that they can actually talk to. Mine will listen to me, like I know that if I needed them they'd be there, and we just have such a strong relationship. So I think that's why it feels a lot harder to think about another favourite person. I literally only have one. I think some people can have more. From my experience, it's usually like one significant person through a certain stage in my life, and where I'm at now, you know, and just really recognising that they are a huge part. So I hope I managed to answer any of your questions that you might have, and hopefully I will see you all back here soon.